Morning, friends. So today we're going to do another unboxing. The other day we were visiting with some friends for lunch, and as we were coming out of the restaurant, we kind of noticed there was a new antique shop that had opened up in the plaza. I have the name for that here in a second, but yeah, they told us that they had been established for around a year, and we don't really go out that way very often. So for us, it's very new. And depending on how this all goes, I have every intention of going back because they have an entire section for notions and fabric and old linens, like not just old linens like you would find at a thrift store. This was an antique store. So there are a lot of really good options in there for future projects. So what I'm going to do today is we are going to go over what I bought for this first um, shopping spree. And there are a lot of really good things in here. And I do have every intention of going back and hopefully making it a regular thing and seeing what other kind of things that they have at this particular antique store. Well, the first thing I wanted to show you was this lace. It's 24 yards of white lace, and it's really got like a baby gender reveal vibe to it. There's light blue, yellow, and pink. So all of the colors you would see in a newborn baby's room. So I thought this would be a really good addition to a dress that I plan on making for my great niece. Don't normally spend $20 on lace, but for 24 yards, that's less than $1 a yard. So not a bad deal. Here, I think up here it says 24 yards, but down here the original packaging said 25. So somebody just bought this and only used a yard of it. Never used it again, but I think this blend of blue, pink, and yellow is really nice. It's very simple. Just kind of gives off a, baby room vibe or Easter vibe for sure. And here's the staining on the back. I think someone was a little careless with the spoon, just laid it down on a dirty table or something, but like I said, I can just cut around that and hopefully all the layers underneath will be clean, but we won't know until I actually unspool this. But yeah, plenty to be had here, and there's plenty of it to go around. So this was definitely something I knew I had to come home with. And for all you old school sewers out there, I know that you will find this particularly fun to see. This is an entire box of old thread, and most of these spools are wooden. So you know it's antique because the spools are still wooden. Wooden spools thread hasn't been made with wooden spools for a very long time. And every time I see a wooden spool, I keep it because they are rare and valuable. This entire container is filled with small spools of thread, and I want to say all of them, save five or six, are wooden. We'll go over this a little more thoroughly once I open it and we can see how many of these are wooden, but most of the spools in here are wooden. That would be really great to have with my collection. And speaking of thread, I also got some extra thread here. I don't have a lot of purple, so I knew I had to get this particular grab bag. And again, all of these threads are wooden. So whoever is donating these spools to this antique store, you know, these threads are really old because of the wooden spools. Yeah, this one seems to be plastic, wood, plastic, wood, wood. Yeah, so all of these kind of beige-ish tops, these are all plastic. And here. But the rest of these, a good portion of these are in fact wood spools. So we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 of these are wooden. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 8 of them are plastic. And then here's the bigger package with the bigger spools. This is all, these are all wooden spools. So four spools of thread for $6. That's normally what I pay for a single spool online. So this is really nice to have. I even have a seafoam green here for in case I run out of thread for the Cyrenalis. That can definitely help out. And I always love a good aqua blue or a turquoise. So this is more of a powder blue. And then, of course, purple. I don't have a really good purple, so that's good to have. And there's plenty of pink in here, so that would help with my great niece. Yeah, so between both of these packages of thread, there's plenty to use for my great niece's dress and to finish my Serenalis. And something that I've always wanted to do, but never had the chance to learn before my grandmother passed on, was how to quilt. My grandmother quilted, my mother quilted, but neither of them were present enough in my life to teach me how to quilt. But that's definitely something I want to look into. And this is a quilting pattern book. So I thought this would be a really great way to get started on quilting. I do own 2 old quilts. They're actually right here in my closet. These are quilts that my mother made back when she was alive. So they're definitely they have a very high sentimental value to our family. Just having something that my mother created is really, really special to me. And I really want to take the opportunity to continue on with that tradition. This is really nice. Ready to use designs, 110 ready to use designs with instructions. So if you look inside the book, it really is just patterns. And these pages you can tear out. The backs are blank. You don't have to worry about sewing over another page, but I think there are a lot of really cool ideas in here. Ooh, Celtic knotting. Very nice. Randy will like that a lot. Yeah, so this would be a really good start for, you just don't get books like this anymore. Most of the time you just buy online and download PDFs, but there's nothing like having a legit book that you can just have that substance that you're looking for. Begins with instructions on how to quilt, so I will absolutely look into this and see if I can't learn how to quilt. See what's the copyright date on this. Let's see what year it was made. 1955. Wow. There's just, you never know what kind of pieces of history you can find. They really are treasure trove. I just love antique stores. We don't have many. And we have, of course, next up are buttons. Now, I didn't really thought I needed buttons. I have an entire drawer in my sewing tower of buttons. I've been just a massive collection of buttons from my old dry cleaning days, but these were ones that Randy specifically picked out. He thought they were really nice and pretty. So we have a very shiny deep green, and they're four holes. And then we have these, and they look very much like if you've seen Pirates of the Caribbean, that pirate medallion that everyone's fighting over. These buttons look a lot like that. I thought they were. I didn't even see these at first. Randy picked these out, and can't believe I almost missed them. But they are really cool looking buttons, and this would definitely be a great for a future project for Randy, um, to make him something really cool, Victorian or pirate like, and use these buttons for that final project. And then the handy dandy green for lessons, deep green, very nice. I think at some point this cardboard was one piece, but whoever used it was eager, was very eager to get to the buttons. Unless it was two cardboards and the first cardboard was just cut down. That's also a possibility. But yeah, they're very nice green. You can see why he wanted them. In case you haven't noticed yet, green is Randy's favorite color. And then, of course, the 4-hole buttons. I always prefer 4 holes over the 2-hole buttons because it just gives it that added security when you're sewing on a 4-hole button versus a 2-hole button. But 4-hole buttons are getting increasingly difficult to find. I don't know why. I guess it's just cheaper to make a 2-hole button. Most of my buttons in my collection are 2-hole buttons, but it's really nice when I can find a 4-hole button for things. And these are really pretty buttons. They're small though, so I can't use it for Randy's vests or anything. I'll have to maybe use them for a shirt. If he wants to replace the buttons on one of his shirts, I can use these for that, or I can make him a shirt as well. So I've never made a modern men's shirt before, but that's also something that I think I would like to learn. Some zippers. Where's the other zipper? Yeah, here it is. So I have 2 zippers here. I have, and they're both invisible. No, one's invisible. The other one is uh, pink. It'll go towards the same project as the lace. So I have this lace with pink in it, but I also have this zipper, pink zipper, that will also go towards that project. These 2 things I was very happy to find because that means I didn't have to go online to look for trimming and a zipper for this particular project. And again, for my great niece. And then this zipper is kind of like that turquoise blue seafoam green, in case I need that for the Siren Alice. If I want to change out the zipper I have that's in it right now. This is definitely a shorter zipper and it's invisible, so that might blend in a little more nicely than the green zipper that I have in it right now. But I've also found that this long zipper I have in the dress right now, the back is so open when I'm getting into it that it's hard to zip me back up in. It's kind of hard to explain, but I do have some footage of Brandy getting me into the dress. So I think it might be easier if I change out that zipper for one that's a little shorter. That way I don't have issues zipping in the future. So this will be an extra zipper for that particular project. You can tell this is an older zipper because who spends 70 cents on a zipper these days? Um, Slim, smooth, smart metal zipper. Very nice. It's nice to look back on the old packagings before everything went like mass manufacturing, just to see the difference between old packaging versus our new packaging. You can tell by the fashion on the back of the zipper that it's much older zipper for sure. And then the second zipper a nice turquoise zipper here. So it's 20 inches, $1.20. Not bad. A newer zipper than I think the pink one, but still very much older packaging for sure. Oh, and there are instructions here on the back for how to actually install a zipper with a machine. Of course, I think I'll just use the herringbone stitch. When using this, I always prefer to hand sew my zippers in. Just gives me more control and the seam doesn't get all askew. But if you're ever interested in that, I mean, zippers these days never come with instructions, so that's nice to see that the back of this zipper actually gives you some instructions here. Very nice. We have more lace. It's always good to find vintage lace, but you have to be careful when buying vintage lace because a lot of it, if it hasn't been cared for, can be really discolored or stained. So if you look at vintage lace, it's really hard to find a good lace that's not spotted or discolored or turning brown because it wasn't well cared for or stored in its heyday. So this lace, it's a nice thick lace, which I thought would be good. I don't have much thick lace, but it's also, as far as I can tell, it's not stained at all. So that one was a good one to bring home. Speaking of stains, some of the lace here on this spool, I did notice has some staining here, like especially on the back. I think maybe someone spilled coffee on the spool or something happened there. That's the problem with white, not just lace, but anything white. It's so hard to keep clean and not to have that stained look because it just picks up anything that you drop on it, even like placing it on the floor for a second, it can cause some really detrimental staining. But I think I can get around that because it's 24 whole yards of this. I can just snip out the stained areas and just use as much clean lace as I can, and hopefully 24 yards will be enough for my project. So we'll see how that goes. Uh, and then my final find was in the linen section, and it's this tablecloth. So this tablecloth has been embroidered. It looks like cross stitching embroidery. And that's actually something I've already taken the first steps into figuring out how to do to cross stitch onto fabric. And this is just a really lovely tablecloth, and I kind of like the neutral brown embroidery on it. It's not too colorful. It's not overt at all. It's very subtle. So I thought this would make a really cool undergarment for one of my historical projects. Hopefully, it does feel like proper linen or cotton. I'm not sure. And there's a lot here. It's a nice large tablecloth. So there's a lot of fabric here to work with, and I absolutely intend to utilize as much of the embroidered parts as possible. And I'm a little hesitant to wash this before I cut into it because I don't know how much of the stitching will come undone. But I thought it was really lovely needlework. Definitely cross stitch. And I used to cross stitch. That was actually one of my favorite hobbies in college, was just relax between classes, or if I had a spare moment, just to pick up one of my cross stitching projects, and it was cathartic for me. So seeing this linen in that section kind of reminded me of a simpler time, and it made me kind of want to pick cross stitching back up. For the most part, it's clean. I don't see any extensive staining on this, which is really cool. I'm really impressed that whoever owned this before managed to keep it clean. And that's not something you see like ever. So this is really impressive to me now that I've seen it unfolded So I got to take really good care of that to make sure there's no staining. So this is my haul. Just a lot of really good things, and there were a lot of things that we didn't get, and some things that I'm kind of hoping to go back for and see what new things they have by the time we do go back and see what kind of turnaround they have. But the lady behind the counter did mention that sewing notions kind of go fast. So if I want to keep an eye on things, then I'll have to definitely go back soon. But that's encouraging as well to see that a lot of people are still sewing and they appreciate the the quality that vintage supplies have versus what can be mass manufactured today. There was this whole section of just donated quilts. There was an entire display just of quilts, and oh, that hurt my heart to see people giving quilts away. It just made me wonder, what kind of history those quilts had and were their families, what the families of the owners. Because I wouldn't give my quilts away for anything. So maybe I'll go back and grab a few of those quilts and see if there's something I can do to recycle them. That would be a nice project as well. But for the most part, for now, this is what I have. All right, so that's my haul for the day, and I hope you'll stay in tune for the next one, and you can see me put a lot of these beautiful things to use. I'll see you in the next one.
Welcome to the channel, like and subscribe. Isn't that what YouTube wants us to say? Our Lords and Master at Google? Yeah,